What's up, cinephiles? For this episode, we are going to review The Lovebirds from Netflix, directed by Michael Showalter.
Now, this is a mix of a rom-com and a crime thriller. This stars Kumail Nanjiani and Issa Rae. They play the couples Gibran and Leilani, who are on the verge of a breakup. They got themselves framed for a murder when this undercover cop hijacked their car and ran over a bicyclist. They were too scared to report it to the police because they thought they're gonna be quickly judged as the prime suspects, and they try to get on the bottom of what's happening. So Phil, I wanna know first your thoughts about this movie.
I actually didn't watch anything beforehand about it. I didn't watch any trailers. I didn't read any plot synopsis. And I was actually surprised that this was a rom-com with crime story elements. And this is very similar to, I don't know if you've seen it, but have you seen Game Night?
Yes, I have.
This movie is very, very similar to Game Night. I would say that this movie is the kind of movie that's really serviceable if you want to be entertained for a short time. Because I don't think that this movie particularly did well what Game Night did. For most of this video, we're gonna have to compare it to films like that because that's what it's trying to go for. But first, I want to give a shout out to Kumail Nanjiani and Issa Rae. One of the best parts of this film is that they really have chemistry together. But I don't know, Kevin, I just can't wrap my head around into loving this movie because it's kind of generic for me.
I don't necessarily have the biggest expectations when it comes to rom-com streaming movies, and this one falls on that category. It's serviceable, as you would say. I'm glad to discover the chemistry of Kumail and Issa Rae. Both are really playing to their strengths. Kumail has the brand for physical comedy when you see him battered and bruised, but at the same time it's adorable. And then Issa Rae, that duo really do a lot of banter. But the thing is, I think the script kept on reducing them on doing those banters. Once that setup has started, it's hilarious. If you've seen in the trailer when they try to acquit themselves in front of witnesses, but then they fled away. This couple is really bad on getting themselves out of a sticky situation. Like, if you would put yourself into their situation, you would probably not do it. But because this is the brand of comedy that the film is going for, in their search for the truth, it kind of serves as their, couples therapy. And I'm not entirely sure if this worked well, as you said, as Game Night. And there's another movie that this has very similar vibes with, Date Night. That film stars Steve Carell and Tina Fey. They also found themselves in a sticky situation when they assumed an identity just for the sake of booking a reservation in a restaurant. And then they find themselves entangled in a group of crime mafias. The thing that hinders me from making this movie remarkable is that there are way superior films. I guess it's safe to judge a comedy by the amount of laughs that it was able to generate from me. It started the first act, I was laughing. Then when it comes to the second act and to the third act, my laughs are kind of ranging from middling to meh. And then the scene jumps from one absurd scenario to the next, and we are glued together by the likability of these characters. There's too much going on for these films. There's a secret organization, there's a blackmailing scandal. I'm trying to think what's the master plan behind here. I'm not asking for a movie that really fleshes this crime aspect because first and foremost, this is rom-com. Towards the end, the plot just becomes questionable to me, like where is this leading on to, and then kind of resolves its way towards the end then as if nothing happened. That's my main gripe.
Yeah, Kevin, I absolutely agree with everything you just said. The humor in this movie for a rom-com is very hit or miss. Some is going to make you laugh, some is going to make you cringe. And I think this movie also started on the wrong foot because at the start of this movie, they tried to set up these characters who, after being in a long-term relationship, kind of grew too used to each other, hating each other. And I think they didn't do really well setting up the relationship between these two. And with regards to plot, yeah, you've mentioned it. This just keeps jumping from one ridiculous sequence to the next. Like what you said, the cult subplot, I don't know what's the use for that. There are so many questionable decisions with regards to plot, especially in the ending of this movie, because I can point out one massive plot hole at the end of this movie that really bothered me. That's why I really didn't buy the ending of this film. My mouth was open during the final scenes of this movie because I was in disbelief about how can this be happening when there are these certain things to think about. But of course, I don't want to spoil anything about this film for those who want to watch it. So Kevin, what can you say about those plot holes that I'm saying?
I'm not sure if I'm getting what plot holes you're talking about, so we might discuss this off session. Again, I just point out on those crazy scenarios that's happening. What sucks is you've seen date night and game night. They're able to pull it off. There are a lot of silly antics happening in that movie, and you want it to work as well in here because okay, we get it, this is not the most original thing, but I guess we are here for the laughs, so give it to us and we're gonna enjoy it. It just didn't work. And then when it comes to the relationship of Gibran and Leilani, I like the intro part of the movie where they were on their lovey-dovey phase, then cut to 4 years later when reality kicks in. They're on their bickering stage. It's fun, and I get that it doesn't have to draw much weight into it. It doesn't need to, because I don't want to see a scene from Marriage Story. I just want to see two couples getting annoyed with all these silly things, those little annoyances in a relationship, and when they pile up, you suddenly find yourselves at the end of the rope. So that's what I'm getting here. But the arc of their relationship, I'm not entirely sold that putting them into this disaster helped and fortified their relationship.
With regards to that beginning, maybe it worked for you, but it was too rushed for me, is what I'm saying. The development of that relationship all throughout the film won't really sell you because of the things that happened. But not to bash this film too much, it's still a serviceable watch if you have nothing much to do, which most of us are. So if you have 1.5 hours to spare and you really don't have much to do, this is a serviceable film.
This movie is supposed to be having a theatrical release, but now that having seen this movie, I think this fits on a streaming service when it comes to the level of entertainment and quality. I didn't get annoyed while watching this because there are some comedies like they really insult your intelligence and I don't want to finish it, so I didn't get that sense. So I'm not hating this, but at the same time I'm not entirely loving this because I felt like it's a waste of talent. But at the same time, I'm glad to see Kumail and Issa Rae putting their talents into use. I just wish they had a better material to work with, and I definitely want to see them back on screen together to something that's really funny and will cater to their comedic chops as an actor. So for now, I'm gonna go middle and give this movie a 3 out of 5 stars rating.
This movie, like I said, is a serviceable watch. It's not necessarily as good as the movies that is alike it. I keep saying we're in a situation where if we need something to entertain us, we don't necessarily need another perfect film to entertain us all the time. So this is a serviceable watch every now and then. I'm going to give this film 2.5 out of 5 stars.
Okay, that wraps up our review for The Lovebirds. Guys, please tell us if you've seen this movie. Tell us your thoughts in the comment section below.
And if you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. And as always, we'll see you on the next one. Stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.